Season slump and won 8 in a row to reach the finals of the Metro Conference Tournament in Memphis. Once again, the Cardinals are peaking at just the right time. The biggest mountain to climb right now is the one occupied by Memphis State freshman sensation Keith Lee, the player of the year in the Metro, who led his team to its first ever regular season championship with a dazzling display of rebounding, shot blocking, and scoring. With Lee fouling out and his team down by 1 yesterday against a fine Virginia Tech team, it took a spectacular tip by Bobby Parks with 3 seconds left to reach the finals. Memphis State and Louisville adds up to war today on CBS.
CBS Sports presents NCAA basketball. Today, the Metro Conference Tournament Final, live from Mid-South Arena, Memphis, Tennessee, is sponsored by U.S. Armed Forces. It's a great place to start. And by Chevrolet. Chevy makes good things happen.
Welcome to the Bedlam that is Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee. Metro Conference final action between these two great basketball rivals, the Louisville Cardinals and the Memphis State Tigers, because the NBA game ran over. We're just a few minutes late, and this ball game is already underway, and Memphis has had the best of it in the early going, leading by a score of 8-2. The Cardinals in red. It is Memphis in white. Frank Lieber along with Steve Brody, and everybody's been waiting for this ball game for quite some time, Steve.
You know, I don't know that there's a more intense rivalry in college basketball today. The dislike of these two teams really borders on hatred, and we're expecting a real barn burner today.
And the fans don't like each other anyway. So we're in for a very exciting afternoon. 12,000 fans on hand here at the Mid-South Coliseum. To the winner goes an automatic berth in the NCAA playoffs. That's Dana Kirk, the head coach of the Memphis State Tigers, who's led his team to a conference championship this year.
While we're looking at a couple free throws, let's just kind of give you an overall view of what to expect. Both teams like to play pressure defense. They'll be picking each other up all over the floor. Both teams like to hurry up offense, so you're going to expect 40 minutes of full court basketball.
Rodney McCray on the free throw line. For Louisville, 8-3 is the count. Memphis State with the lead. We have 15 minutes and 57 seconds left to play in the first half.
It's been Memphis State's half-court defense, which has really got the best of Louisville so far early in the ballgame, got them out to that 8-4 lead.
So we've got a timeout with Memphis State leading Louisville in the Metro Conference Finals, 8-4. Back with more of the action in just a moment.
Number 20. The bright new shape of Chevrolet is here. Celebrity. A new shape of room, luxury, comfort, and a hushed sense of quiet. Reflected in a bright new size of Chevrolet. Celebrity. Surprising mileage with standard engine electronic fuel injection. The new shape of front-wheel drive. The new shape of aerodynamics.
Now get a $500 cash bonus on Celebrity to apply to your down payment or in a check direct from Chevrolet.
It's McDonald's Quality Game with over 50 million cash and food prizes.
Did you know McDonald's uses only 100% pure all-American beef?
Yeah, and anybody who completes this Big Mac section wins $500,000.
Man, you can't beef about that.
And McDonald's uses only fresh grade A eggs.
Of course, and anybody who completes this scrambled egg section wins $100 grand.
And that's no joke.
Plus, instant winners, Big Mac, Coke, 25 grand, $500,000 in McDonald's Quality Game.
Did you play Haunted House? It's a game that's new. Did you play Asteroids and Super Breakout 2? Look at Missile Command. Did the aliens land? Did you play a game from Atari? Have you played Atari today?
Atari has more video games than anyone, including a new one, Haunted House.
Let's play it again, okay?
Have you played Atari today?
Even the most careful driver can have an accident, and that can wreck your insurance. But at Safeco, we won't raise your rates if you have an accident when you have our penalty-proof insurance. So check the yellow pages for your independent Safeco agent and get a free insurance checkup. You'll come out miles ahead. Safeco, where careful people save.
Memphis State, an awful tough team at home, as their record will attest. They are 17-0. There's Denny Crum, the head coach of the Louisville Cardinals, the team that's won this tournament the last 2 years. They've won 3 of the 6 Metro tournaments that have been staged, and of course 3 of the last 4 conference titles. Keith Lee, the young man we showed you earlier, off to a great start with 6 of his team's first 8 points. Memphis State 4 out of 7 from the field. Rebounds are even at 3 apiece as the Tigers bring the ball down the court. Otis Jackson has it knocked out of his hands by Milton Wagner, 6'5" freshman guard. Louisville really shuttles the players in and out, Steve.
Well, that's got to be their strength and advantage in this ball game, in that they can play 8 or 9 players and not really lose much in performance and when they bring people in off the bench.
Phillips' pass is blocked. Ball taken underneath by Parks. Misses the shot. Lee with the rebound. Can't get it. Phillips with the next one. Goes up and is hammered.
Well, let me tell you, both teams are very physical. Should Memphis State get in foul trouble, it would be to their detriment. They don't have the bench. They go about 5. They only go like 2 players deep in on the bench. This is what you usually see from Louisville, offensive board strength. That's the key to their attack. Now, of course, everyone's heard about the shot blocking ability of the Louisville Cardinals. They've got 3 people who can go up and snatch it out of the air. You can see Memphis State here, a little bit intimidated, missed some easy shots. The good head and ball fake by Phillips, and he goes up and gets hacked.
And Phillips makes both free throws to make it 10-4. Memphis State with 15.5 minutes remaining. Jerry Eves, number 5, one of the great point guards of the country for the Louisville Cardinals. He runs the attack. And Derek Smith, the second all-time leading scorer. Trailing only Darrell Griffin. He's the focus of that offensive attack. The freshman Wagner has some problems.
And you know what I think may be lost in people's minds is the fact that 4 of the players on Louisville's team were starters on the national championship team. Darrell Griffin, the only player who's not on that team now.
That, of course, was 2 years ago when they started 3 sophomores, a freshman, and the lone senior, Griffith, that won the NCAA title, beating UCLA in St. Louis. Underneath, Smith goes up for the shot and is fouled by Jackson.
If you're a Louisville Cardinal fan, that's probably who you'd want to have the ball close to the basket. Derek Smith's strength is inside. He's a great scorer in traffic. Has become a decent outside shooter, a decent set shooter. But when he gets the ball close to the basket, he's very theatrical. He goes up. You saw right there, got the ball knocked out of his hands. He can fake the foul, but he's generally going to score the ball when he gets it inside.
Louisville has had its problems shooting free throws this year. They were dead last in the Metro Conference. But the other night against St. Louis, they were 12 out of 12. And yesterday, against Florida State, they were 27 out of 32. So they seem to be back on the beam in that department, 10-5.
I guess there's 2 areas where they've really improved. As you mentioned, the foul shooting, which was directly responsible for 4 losses this season, and the other is in the turnover department. Their key people were turning it over in close ball games. Eves and Smith, they're a little bit more under control now. Those have been the 2 areas they've improved.
Jackson missing the shot, and Wagner getting the rebound and bringing it down court, and is fouled. Picking up the personal foul is Philip Payne, 6'3" sophomore. It is ironic, but we're talking about that lineup that Louisville had 2 years ago. Memphis State right now starts 3 sophomores, a freshman, and a senior.
To take the ironies a little bit further, none of Louisville Cardinals players made the all-conference, first-team all-conference this year. Everybody on Memphis State did except Doom Haynes.
Derek Smith with the rebound, and Denny Crum's a little hot about that.
Very.
First time since the Metro Conference has been in existence, and not a single one of their players was named to the all-first Metro team. Eves, I should say Smith, made it the last 2 years. Inside the lead.
Keith Lee told his fellow teammate Otis Jackson that he didn't come ready to play yesterday. He had one of his poor performances of the season. But he told Otis Jackson he was ready to play today. They need a big performance from him.
12-7.
This is the spot where Lee's most effective. He's got tremendously long arms. You can see he'll go straight to the basket with it. It's tough to block his shot.
Derek Smith having trouble getting the shot away. And the ball goes over to Memphis State. Jackson, who runs the attack, number 10. He's the only senior in the starting lineup. Shot short by Phillip. Rebound by Parks underneath. Knocked out of bounds. And it belongs to Louisville. The officials, by the way, Hank Nichols from Villanova, Pennsylvania, who has officiated in 3 NCAA finals, John Moreau of Richmond, and Bob Ola of Albany, Louisiana. Rodney McCray, 2. McCray, the MVP last year in the Metro Conference Tournament. 6'7" junior.
People close to the situation in the real basketball people will tell you that Rodney McCray is probably the best player on the Louisville Cardinal team and definitely the best pro prospect. They've inserted Jones in the lineup now and put McCray on Keith Lee. He's their best defensive player.
Charles Jones, number 33 for Louisville, who was the player of the game last week in the win over Marquette. Haynes to the high post to Phillips. Phillips on the drive. And the foul is on Jones.
It's really been Derek Phillips that's added the extra dimension to the Memphis State attack. In the last 6 games, he's hit double figures, had his career high 21 points 5-6 games ago. I think from the time we were down here earlier in the year, he's been the player that has improved most during the course of the season.
Louisville with 3 team fouls at this point, the same as Memphis State. Tigers lead it 12-9. Keith Lee, freshman of the year, and maybe the best freshman in the country. Phillips inside, can't get the hoop, and Jones clears it out. Jerry Eves down court.
Lancaster Gordon,
and that's
ball
Gordon
there.
with the bucket. Jackson.
Philip Haynes has got a little bit to prove himself in this ball game. While every member of the Memphis State team made at least honorable mention, he was the only one left off the squad. Ironically, he has hurt the Louisville team the most in the 2 previous ball games they've played.
Rodney McCray with the hoop. His second gives him 6 points in the early going.
And if inside is Lee's game, that little bank shot is Philip Haynes' game. They'll shoot everything from the wing. You've got to force him baseline or the top of the key and take that bank shot away from him. We got an offensive foul, I believe, going to be called on Derek Smith, pushing off, trying to get loose on the wing.
That's his second. Timeout with 11:20 left to play in the first half. Memphis State leading Louisville 16-11.
It's a funny feeling when you're 17, just finished school, and times are lean, don't have a job, don't know what to do, never learned a skill, and you want to work too. Well, you know the services have the means to teach someone who's still in his teens. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, they'll take you, train you, show you the way. You'll work hard, get decent pay in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. Serving your country's a real good start, helping pay for colleges and services part. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. Future in doubt, shed that lead. Join the services and get ahead in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. It's a great place to start.
To an entering freshman, higher education can seem highly confusing. But at Smith College, a Honeywell computer has things under control. A Honeywell computer handles registration, class assignments, and sets maintenance schedules. Honeywell even considers personal interests before assigning roommates. Honeywell, you should see what we do with computers.
Johnny Murphy never went to college, but Johnny Jr. graduated with honors. Looks like a strollite night.
Looks like a strollite night. Looks like a strollite night. When things are going right, looks like a strollite night.
Strollite, a great tasting beer that doesn't fill you up.
When nothing can go wrong, looks like a strollite night. When good times come along.
Wednesday, a missing father is reunited with his 2 sons, one who hates him, one who needs him. Timothy Hutton and Hal Linden star in Father Figure, Wednesday.
Frank Lieber with Steve Crowley back in Memphis. This is the All-Metro Conference first team, and not a Louisville player among them. 2 from Memphis State, as you can see. 1 from Tulane, Dale Solomon, and what a player he is. Has he showed us something the last 2 days?
I don't think I've seen a player make more difficult shots in 2 consecutive ball games than Dale Solomon made him. You know, I don't know if he can be player of the tournament again without reaching the finals, but if they gave it to him, it would be no fluke.
I got to believe Virginia Tech's going to be in some postseason tournament. That's just too good a team. Saved from going out of bounds. What a play by Haynes, who saved it and got it back into Parks.
Just to spend another second on Virginia Tech, they're playing as well as any team that is going to get invited to the NCAA tournament. With 10 losses, I don't think they'll make it. Look for them to really give a good, strong showing in the NIT.
Good penetration by Bobby Parks, who won the game yesterday with his last-second tip-in. And it's 18-11 in favor of Memphis State. Milt Wagner, the freshman, working on top along with Lancaster Gordon.
Louisville just 4 for 12 from the field in the ballgame. Both teams, the strength of both teams is in their defense, the half-court defense. I don't think most people would realize that from the Louisville standpoint.
Tipped away by Keith Lee. He caused the turnover, and here comes the Memphis State Tigers. And their fans are on their feet. Otis Jackson to Derek Phillips. Phillips has missed the last 2 years with a foot injury, but Dana Kirk just wouldn't give up on him, and eventually he came around and is a big part of this Memphis State success story this year. Louisville 20-8 on the year. Memphis State 22-4. And Lee, who can shoot from outside as well, gets his own rebound. Starts it all over again.
I think that play right there has to give you the indication of the maturity that this kid has as a freshman. Gets the rebound. A lot of people would just put it right back up there. He settles it down. He's the one taking charge, bringing it out, setting it back up.
Otis Jackson. Phillip with the short rebound. Missing. Lee scrapping for it underneath. Still got it.
Louisville's getting beat at their own ball game right now. That's got to be the third or fourth rebound basket by Memphis State. They're really letting them bang inside into the boards.
And a scrap for that ball. And it'll wind up as a jump ball. And this one will go in the alternate possession role to the Memphis State Tigers.
And let's hope that this alternate possession role is no longer in the game next year. I don't even want to see a jump ball given to the defense. The officials should be able to make a correct toss. If he can't, they should be able to correct it. Put the jump ball back in the game.
Well, some of the officials say it's too tough with these tall players to get a good jump. And Abe Lemons, the Texas coach, says let them get taller officials. Pass inside to Lee. Nothing going right for the Louisville Cardinals so far. As we said, to the winner of this game goes the automatic berth in the NCAA. Louisville has turned it over 6 times already. Memphis State just once. Realistically, you have to believe that both of these teams are going to be in the tournament. Wouldn't you say so?
I don't think there's any question. That's why I'm a little surprised at Louisville's performance thus far. There shouldn't be that much pressure on them, but they're certainly playing a little tight.
Haynes missing that bank shot, and Jones grabbing the rebound. Nice drive by Eaves.
A nice walk. Oh, they called it. I thought they missed it.
Oh, they called it traveling. And Louisville turns it over for the 7th time.
Frank, just an unbelievable statistic. Memphis State has won 22 ball games this year, and they're 22-4. In 26 games, they have only scored 7 more field goals than their opponents. However, they've played 17 games at home. They've shot almost 300 more free throws than their opponents on the season.
And that's made a big difference, quite obviously. Louisville, winners of 8 in a row. They've blown away their 2 opponents, St. Louis and Florida State, here in the Metro. There's one thing. Louisville is playing its 3rd game in less than 48 hours. Memphis State got the bye yesterday.
Well, and there's only one team in the tournament that can play 3 games in a row and beat Memphis State at home. That would be Louisville. Once again, because of their depth, the ability to play 8 or 9 people.
And this time, Louisville causing the turnover. We said Memphis State got the bye yesterday. They got the bye till yesterday. Didn't have to play till the semifinal round. Knocked out of the hands of McCray. And Parks couldn't hold it.
However, much like the bye has hurt teams in the NCAA tournament last year, the bye almost hurt Memphis State. I felt like Virginia Tech came in after a strong performance off Cincinnati. They were relaxed. They played a good game. Memphis State's lucky to be here.
Timeout. The fans love what they're saying so far here in Memphis, with the Tigers leading 20-11.
Sat down with Mom, talked to Dad. Can't get it together, makes you feel sad. You know you can do it, you wonder where. You want it soon because you really care. The services can help you so you not only get better, you really grow. Talking Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. You'll work hard, they'll make you a man. Responsibility is part of the plan. In the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. Prove you can make it. Prove it to all. Serving your country and walking tall. In the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. You've got it together. They'll see in a glance. Thanks to the services, you got the chance. In the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. It's a great place to start.
This is the new Boeing 757, now undergoing rigid certification tests. Sleek, clean, comfortable. The Boeing 757 will save enough fuel in a single year to fly coast to coast 90 times. A remarkable achievement in fuel efficiency. The 757. One more way Boeing is helping to keep flying one of the world's best travel values. Boeing, getting people together.
Dear Curtis Mathis, recently a tornado destroyed our home. The first thing my husband looked for was our new Curtis Mathis color TV. It was scratched up a bit, but when we plugged it in, it worked perfectly. I only wish you'd made everything else in our home. Sincerely, Martha Fulton.
We can't guarantee our televisions will survive a tornado, but we do think they'll last a long, long time.
Curtis Mathis, the most expensive television in America, and worth it.
Monday, is Mr. Merlin ready for 2 Zacks?
Jekyll and Hyde isn't all fiction.
Then a shooting match turns Private Benjamin's world upside down. Monday.
Well, North Carolina, as you can see, is the ACC tournament champion. They win the automatic berth into the NCAA playoffs. We'll have highlights of that championship game played earlier this afternoon at halftime. Our other CBS game tied in the first half. Nevada, Las Vegas, and South Carolina. Our score 20-11. Memphis State over Louisville. Louisville with the basketball. Jerry Eves on the outside.
And Pancho Wright, Mr. Instant Offense for the Louisville Cardinals. Shooting just 43% from the field, but when you take into consideration most of his attempts are from 20 feet plus, 43% isn't a bad figure.
Rodney McCray with the basket. A steal by Louisville, and Eves goes up for the shot. That is fouled by Phillips.
I would think as the game progresses, one of the key things for Memphis State to avoid is a run by Louisville. They're the type of team that can string together 10 or 12 points with that full court pressure before you know it. One thing to remember, with the TV timeouts and with Memphis State having 5 timeouts themselves during the ball game, they should be able to prevent that type of momentum to carry over.
Eves, the number 2 scorer on the team of the year, averaging just under 13 points. And again, the free throw problem surfaced for the Louisville Cardinals. Gary Taylor has checked in for Memphis State, number 45. Eves making 1 out of 2, makes it 20-14.
Well, this is the point in the ballgame where Otis Jackson becomes such a key figure. He's the one that's got to control the situation, make sure they get down and get that easy basket right there.
Great bucket by Philip Haynes, his 3rd basket of the first half, and another turnover by Louisville. They must be in double figures in turnovers already.
Well, communication is so important during the ballgame, both offensively and defensively. In that situation, somebody on Louisville's team has got to inform the ball handler that the defense is coming in from behind. However, with the crowd noise, sometimes things don't work out right. You can't hear people. So that'll be to Memphis State's advantage.
Haynes fouled.
Well, as a player and a coach, this is the type of foul that's got to bother you. We've seen people bang each other under the board. That's got to be just a little touch foul. However, in the act of shooting, and I think from the out court, they're gonna watch a little closer.
First foul on Pancho Wright. That is 16 fouls on Louisville as Haynes misses the first of 2. We've got 7 minutes, 6 seconds left to play in the first half. Memphis State leading by 8 as he missed them both. But he got it back. Haynes dropping it off to Lee, who misses. At short range, Taylor with the jumper. Gary Taylor gets his first basket.
Taylor was a great player out of my hometown. Cincinnati, Ohio, was a tremendous junior college player, and he's really contributed here late in the season.
Fine move by Pancho Wright. The basket will count, and he was fouled. Wright, savvy veteran at 6'5", averaging almost 7 points per game coming off the bench.
I would doubt that there's a team in the country that is as capable as making the spectacular play as the Louisville Ball Club is. They've got 8 or 9 great athletes on their team. You'll get a chance to see them all play before the day's over.
They're 5 out of 7 from the free throw line.
And I guess
Wagner's back in.
What really surprised me is Louisville's ability to continually sign great college or high school players year after year. One has just checked in, number 20, Milt Wagner.
I guess, you know, you could have too much talent. You could have a problem there and not enough playing time for people.
Well,
could be one of their problems.
You know, I think there's something to that, and that's. But year after year, that's what they say about Louisville. But year after year, they win 20 games. So too much talent. I would think that's the least amount of your worries as a coach, to have too much talent.
Haynes shot spinning in and out. McCray, good outlet pass to Eves. Down court to Pancho Wright.
Pancho will see playing time now. If he makes one of his 2 first shots, he's going to get a lot of playing time.
That's 5 for Pancho Wright. And a 10-point lead for Memphis State has suddenly shrunk to 5. 24 to 19. Foul before the shot called on McCray. Rodney McCray picks up his first personal foul. That is the 7th team foul against Louisville as Dana Kirk, the head coach of the Tigers, looks on. So Memphis will benefit from the bonus the remainder of the first half. Keith Lee on the free throw line. For the very first time, and for a big guy at 6'10", he can shoot free throws.
You know, you wonder if there's how much better he can get. He plays every phase of the game so well. A statistic I found most interesting: tremendous shot blocking ability, and at the same time has only goaltended 3 times in the course of the season.
Eves with a great move, gets the ball inside. Derek Smith, who's been quiet so far, gets his second basket. 25-21. Louisville is coming on. Taylor answers for the Memphis State Tigers.
For Taylor to come in and play like this, contribute a couple baskets, is nothing but a plus. When they bring Johnny Gibson and Taylor in, they have to be a positive force in this ball game. They can't lose any performance when they come off the bench, or they'll be in trouble.
Wright tried to loop it underneath for Derek Smith, but the pass was a little bit high and hit the rim. Yesterday in the semifinal game, Memphis State went almost the entire second half without a substitute, and Lee fouled out with about 1:19 to go. Lee had it knocked out of his hands, got it back, and put it through the hole.
Well, I'll tell you what, he just absolutely ran somebody over right there. That had to be a charge.
And a foul called on Philip Haynes. Haynes' second personal foul. That is 7 team fouls on Memphis State.
From playing in the Big Ten, doing the Big Ten game of the week, and that league being known as the physical league, this is what has surprised me most about the Metro Conference, that they really let them play underneath. Though you get a little indication of the type of action that we've seen thus far in this ball game, and that I'm surprised that they're letting the contact go.
Eves will get the bonus. He's 2 out of 3 from the free throw line. 29-22. Haynes comes out of the game, and they're not booing him. His nickname is Doom, and that's what the crowd is yelling. Doom. Philip Haynes. Eves on the line. Misses the second. And big Keith Lee there for the rebound. He hasn't blocked a shot today. That's about the only thing he hasn't done. He had 5 yesterday against Virginia Tech, and is among the nation's leaders in block shots as well as in rebounding. Only freshman in the country to be in double figures in scoring and rebounding. And Lee was the intended receiver of that pass underneath, and Gary Taylor just smiled at him, said sorry.
Well, that's a little inexperience. Gary doesn't get the playing time that most people do. A little bit of inexperience, not enough communication on the offensive pattern.
Pancho Wright has hit a couple of those, misses that one. Wright gets the rebound, brings it outside, gives it to Eves. Milt Wagner. Freshman can't hit it, and Lee is there to grab it off the glass.
Generally, when 2 very good teams match up, the scoring total is going to drop. I would think that it would be in Memphis State's favor to slow the ball game down just a little bit, once again getting back to the depth factor.
Crowd is booing because they're giving Lee a pretty good working over underneath, and the crowd feels the officials should start blowing the whistle. Jackson on the outside. Lee has 7 rebounds at this point. It's not a bad start. 3:50 left to play in the first half. Jackson, they are slowing it down a little bit. A little more deliberate. Taylor at the free throw line. Back to Jackson. Why is it everybody with the name Otis, they like to call him OJ? That's the case there. There's a pass to Lee.
He got away with the travel.
Memphis State loses the ball, and it goes to Louisville. Cardinals down by 7 as Eves brings it down court. 29-22. Wagner on the drive. Rebound to Phillips, and he's made his presence a big factor so far. Down court quickly to Bobby Parks, and Parks has it blocked on him by Rodney McCray. And again, the fans want a foul call and don't get it. Eves with the open shot. And we do get one called underneath. This one on McCray for shoving.
Well, if we'll see it on a replay, it's a good call. He just backed Otis Jackson right out of there. It's just one of those plays that you hate to make as a player because you don't need to. At 6'8", he's going to get the rebound. It's a kind of a natural reaction to push off and get leverage for your jump.
Jackson will be going to the free throw line. Gary Taylor comes out. And Haynes comes back in.
Otis Jackson was, as you saw on the screen earlier, his first-team all-conference player. He's been the type of kid who's been a scorer in the past, getting less than 10 points a game. Regardless, though, his selection is on the first team gives you a good indication of what he means to the Memphis State attack.
He is the only player left from prior to the Dana Kirk regime, and this is only Kirk's 3rd year as head coach.
And Kirk had no qualms about saying when he got the job, he was going to go with young players. But it's nice to have that senior point guard.
3:04 left to play in the first half. 31-22, Memphis State.
There's a time in life for the young to say, I want something else, a different way. The town's the same, the people too. School is over, needs something to do. The services have it, it'll really show. You'll see new places, you'll really grow in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. Challenge, adventure, excitement too, a time to enjoy and see something new. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. You'll work hard, feel really free, serving your country for all to see in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. Be part of a team, be friends forever. A part of the services you won't forget ever. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. It's a great place to start.
Steve, a little one-on-one. I had to do some yard work for a Michelob Light. I don't have to do any yard work.
Would good friends really go at it this hard just for a beer? Well, consider it's Michelob Light, and that means a rich, smooth taste you can compare to any beer you like.
102 to 98. How did you do it? Defense?
Michelob Light. Compare the taste.
I still enjoy helping younger players and being involved. I'm Fran Tarkington. Can you name a product where the guy who sells it also services it? I know one. The insurance you buy from National Life and Accident. When you deal with one of National Life's 4,300 agents, he's always there to help, to service what he sells. But they ought to do it better. They've been at it since 1902. Get to know your National Life agent. He's the reason that more people are coming to National Life and Accident.
Frank Lieber with Steve Crody at Mid-South Coliseum, and it is bedlam here, ear-splitting. Right now, Memphis State leading Louisville 31-22. Louisville has turned it over 9 times. Memphis State 4 times here in the first half. Big stat.
Well, and once again, it's been the half-court defense by Memphis State. They overplayed the wings. They forced, and in addition, not only does it show up in the turnovers, but it shows up in shooting percentages. And we don't have the most recent update, but I believe they're, in fact, here it comes right now. There's 8 for 20 from the field. That's just the 40% mark. Surprisingly, though, Louisville's been beaten at their own game. It's been Memphis State on the offensive board. That has been the difference in the game.
Little pressure here applied by the Memphis State Tigers as the inbounds pass goes to Jerry Eves. Boy, he is steady as a rock in that backcourt, isn't he?
He really is. At least recently, he has been, and that's been the one of the reasons for the turnaround in their improved play.
They had a real dry spell in midseason, which they lost 5 of 6 games.
Although you talk to the coaches, and they don't feel like it was such a bad dry spell. They lost to some good teams, and once again, we get back to the free throw shooting. That was really directly responsible for 3 or 4 of their losses.
Including losses to DePaul and Missouri. Shot missed there by Lancaster Gordon. Rebound by Pacho Wright won't go. And the next one is out of bounds. Off Phillips, they say, of Memphis State.
Well, the
belongs to Louisville.
I think the whistle blew before the ball went out of bounds. It could have been that Phillips' foot was out of bounds when he touched the ball after it came off the rim.
Jones with the inbounds pass outside to Eves. And Lancaster Gordon had a big day yesterday.
You know, Lancaster's most effective when he gets inside. He was a high school forward. He's supposedly the best post player on the team.
Now he got pressure on defense going both ways here. These are two very quick teams. Bobby Parks trying to drive the lane.
Going to be on Charles Jones, I believe.
Jones is down on the floor, getting up off the deck.
But you can see very easily that once here you see a replay, I think Parks might have got away with the travel right there. Nonetheless, he got past Jones, tripped over his leg, and that'll be a put him to the line for 1-on-1. You can see, however, that Memphis State is an aggressive offensive team. When they beat the press, they're going to take it to the basket, force action.
Parks is normally known as their defensive specialist. They normally put him on the top offensive gun. And he's guarding Smith today. Here's a steal by Jackson. As Louisville turns it over again, and the crowd loves it.
Uh-oh, if he makes this, look out.
Philip Haynes from the corner with the 15-footer. He has 8 points in the first half. And if Eves tries to get out of trouble, he is fouled.
It was early in the season when they inserted Bobby Parks when they brought Philip Haynes off the bench, moved Bobby Parks from guard to forward, which turned things around. They were 1-2 on the season very early. From that point on, I believe they won like 15 of their next 16 ball games. So it's been those two key people that played a big part in the Memphis State success this year.
You saw Denny Crum having a word there with Charles Jones, who has just come out of the game. Eves on the free throw line. We'll get the second. He is not hit from the field. He is 3 out of 5 from the line. 35-26. Memphis State with the lead.
But stick around, because I guarantee you that this ball game is going to be close right down to the wire.
Jackson and Eves, the 2 point guards, working on each other. Off to Keith Lee. Lee is listed at 6'10". I'd say with that haircut, he goes 7 feet.
Easy, huh? Easy. And you know, as thin as he is, they say he's the strongest player on the team. I can't believe he's much stronger than Phillips.
There's Lee. Missed the rebound shot that time after Parks missed the tip-in. And Pancho Wright gets the next one. They are racing down the court. Walking called on Lancaster Gordon.
Back to Lee. When you talk to people about his future, his performance down the road, everyone will tell you, hey, he's got to gain weight, got to gain some weight. I don't know if he's got the legs to put on a lot of weight. He can gain some upper body strength, but I don't look for him to put on a lot of pounds.
Off Rodney McCray and out of bounds, so it belongs to Memphis State.
There you get a good look at him. You can see how long and lean his legs are.
I think he could use about 20 or 25 pounds, and he would be all-world. They're spreading it out a little bit, looks like.
Yeah, they're going to play for the last basket now.
Down to 1 minute left to play in the first half.
Of course, in this situation, if you get a clear shot to the basket, they'll take the 2 points in the layup.
35-26. Memphis State has been ahead from the outset. Their biggest lead has been 10. 40 seconds. Otis Jackson. Gordon rushes over to meet him. Lee playing in the high post position right now. This is the best Memphis State team since the one that went to the Final Four back in 1973, whose star was Larry Finch, one of the assistant coaches. Pass to Jackson. Puts it up. Saved by Parks.
That's too soon. He shot it too soon.
Lee had his hands on it still. Phillips with the ball. We get a call underneath.
How many times do you think the whistle could have been blown inside there? I don't know what the final call is going to be. It looks like they might just be saying it was an inadvertent whistle.
Now Denny Crum wants an explanation. But they're going to give the ball to Memphis State. As they ruled it was out of bounds. Here's the alley-oop try, and they mistimed it.
They're going to call it on Lee. We're going to call a foul on Keith Lee right here.
They tried to time the alley-oop, and Lee went in too far and went over the back of a Louisville player. That's his second personal foul. So the two teams with 6 seconds to go will move to the Louisville free throw line.
And although it may not seem like it right now, but this could be a pretty big 4-point swing should Smith convert here. No points for Memphis State, possibly 2 for Louisville.
1 and 1. And one more to go. 35-27 for Derek Smith. 8 points in the first half.
If I was Louisville, I don't think I'd put on the full court pressure. I think I'd give him too much of an easy chance to get a good shot here in the last 6 seconds.
Well, right into the hands of Gordon. Gives it to Eves, who misses. And Memphis State still comes up with it. There's the gun. And the buzzer.
Stay tuned. Who knows what's going to happen in this ball game?
It's a good one. And we've got a lot of interesting things coming up for you at halftime. Highlights of the ACC Tournament Championship game. A preview of our road to New Orleans. This is Selection Day. Score at halftime. Memphis State 35, Louisville 28. Great halftime ahead. Brent Musburger in New York with scores and highlights. Gary Bender will be live from Kansas City with a report on the NCAA tournament selection. And we'll also take a look at this week's CBS Sports Coaches Poll. CBS Sports Sunday will continue after this word from your local station.
On the CBS Tuesday night movies, two brothers make the choice between success and a career of crime. A collision course that tears apart the bond between two brothers.
This is CBS.
We're First Tennessee. What a bank ought to be for planning and growing. We're where you should be.
Now you can pay by check, even where they don't accept checks. With the Visa First Banking Card only from First Tennessee. It looks like Visa, but it works like a check. The Visa First Banking Card. It's just the ticky.
We're First Tennessee. We're the best. We're First Tennessee. First Tennessee.
A good team scores quickly with the fast break. And right now, Memphis is scoring big with $750 price breaks at their Memphis Metro Ford dealer team. Now through April 3rd, they're giving $750 back on new Mustangs, Futuras, and Granadas, plus $750 back on light trucks, Broncos, vans, and 82 Couriers. So score big, Memphis, with the $750 price break at your Memphis Metro Ford dealer team.
Memphis feels good in a Ford.
The countdown to an NCAA championship continues on CBS, and now there are only 22 spots left in the tournament. Here represented on our board the 26 teams that have already qualified, either by winning their conference outright or capturing their conference tournament. Now, the at-large entries, 20 teams to be selected this afternoon and placed in the 4 regions. Gary Bender is standing by right now, and Gary, take us inside that room. Who are some of the teams we can expect now to be chosen as at-large clubs?
Well, Brent, this is the room, and you can see the board behind us, the tourney grid, which will, in fact, have all 48 teams on it. Right now, the committee's still in session up on the 40th floor. Now, thus far, there's been no announcements, of course, officially as to what teams will go where. But I did visit with the chairman of that 9-man committee, Dave Gavitt. And Dave Gavitt came up with this coin phrase. He says there's going to be a westward drift. In other words, some of the schools that normally would be playing in the East and the Mid-East and the Midwest are going to have to move to the West. Some of the reasons. One, there's not as many teams out West. Secondly, there's such balance this year in the NCAA. Dave said that after the top 4 seeds in each region, the ones that will get the first round bye, the numbers aren't really important. Seeds 5, 6, 7, and 8. But what really is important is to achieve a geographical balance. In other words, they'll not pay as much attention to the seeds as much as moving those teams to create this balance. As an end result, you'll have that westward drift that will go out there. So we're going to have some teams that are going to be surprised, I'm sure. And as an end result, Dave Gavitt feels, Brent, that we will have, due to this geographical balance, the best early games maybe in tournament history.
Gary, what about Indiana and my buddy Bobby Knight? Is he going to get a spot in this tournament after all?
You know, I don't see anything at this point that won't get him in there. And where he's going to go could be very interesting. There's a lot of talk about NCAA champions always getting invited back if they have any reasonable record at all. But I think you're going to see the Hoosiers there.
All right, Gary, thank you so much. We'll be checking in with you throughout the afternoon as we fill out that 48-team field. Now, the last club to get into the tournament was North Carolina. Earlier today, the Tar Heels downed Virginia to win the ACC championship 47-45. I'm going to come right back with Billy Packer, and we'll take a look at the highlights as North Carolina downs Virginia again.
I've had to write some tough things about some tough guys. But there's one guy I can't write anything bad about. His unique brand of baseball has made him a living legend. So have his commercials. They got me to try his favorite beer, light beer from Miller. Light's less filling and it really tastes great. So I bought this light for that renowned, yet humble man, Mark Thrunner.
Cheer up, Billy. One day you'll be famous just like me.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Sakes alive, sakes alive. Only Mazda's got a truck for just $58.95.
The Mazda B2000 Sundowner is the lowest priced truck sold in America. Hundreds less than Toyota or Datsun. And comes with standard features they don't even offer on their economy trucks. Sakes alive, Mazda B2000 Sundowner even gets better gas mileage.
Only Mazda's got a truck for just $58.95.
Bell System Knowledge brings you a way to save energy by using your building's existing telephone lines. Save up to 20% of the cost of heating, cooling, lighting, while improving your communications capabilities. Energy and communications managed by a single system from Bell.
Now, Confidence is on sale. Save 20% on Sears Heavy Duty Plus shocks, 30% on Sears Best Steady Rider shocks, and
not today.
If you want to keep rolling,
Confidence.
Save 25% on Sears SuperGuard steel-belted radial tires.
At Sears Tire and Auto Centers, we install confidence. You can count on Sears.
Halftime continues on this, the last day of the regular season in college basketball. Billy Packer has joined us here in New York. And, Billy, I know you are watching carefully as North Carolina down Virginia to win the ACC. But is that nothing more than an ego trip to win a conference championship in a tournament when the big tournament is still ahead of you?
Well, for some people it might be. I think there's a lot of prestige with it. But in that particular case, somebody might have won the battle but lost the war, because I think that Virginia will now be moved over to the western part of the United States, which might be a better place to be.
James Worthy played a marvelous game for Dean Smith. Let's take a look at some of the highlights.
Well, he always does. We're talking about one of the premier players in the United States, and Sampson always gets the opening tap, but not this time, because look at who it went to, James Worthy. Pretty high percentage shot there, Brent. Here's Worthy on the inside again with a dunk. He was 8 for 8 in the first half and really put Carolina up in the lead.
You mentioned Sampson. He, of course, is the single biggest figure in college basketball today. What kind of a game did he have against the Tar Heels?
Well, Ralph is always a significant factor in any game, not only statistically, but the way he plays and alters the game. Now, you see him right here. He can do it all as an inside performer. There's the turnaround jumper. The Wahoo fans liking that. Here he is, rebounding, going up above everybody. Got to remember, that's Perkins and Worthy in there. Slam dunk. And here's the great passing of Sampson on the inside. Just watch him here on the lob. Makes a super catch, dump inside. Kent Needland making a shot, brought Virginia back.
Still, when it came down to the end, Virginia had one final chance to at least force a tie, didn't they? Perhaps you can tell us exactly what happened here.
Well, neither team was in the one-on-one foul shooting situation, and that was very difficult, particularly for Virginia, because North Carolina wisely was fouling them every opportunity they had to come down the court. Dean Smith, a pretty cagey coach right there, and he would make the foul so they couldn't get off that last shot.
All right, we'll pick up the tape right here with 1:15 to go.
Okay, North Carolina using the clock. Obviously not going to take any kind of shot whatsoever. weather. Dean Smith calling his group off to the side. There's Terry Holland, the brain trust of the Cavaliers. And here are those fouls I was talking about. Dean Smith making sure that they have to work that clock on down. Virginia not going to the line. Now here in desperation, ball goes down to Jimmy Miller, and very underrated Jimmy Black makes the steal off the leg. Now, talking about an underrated player, here's Matt Doherty. He's going to the line. He's going to seal it right here for the University of North Carolina.
And we fully expect North Carolina now to be the top-seeded team in the tournament. But, Billy, so much of the second half was spent with the stall tactic. That's becoming a major problem in college basketball?
Well, I think it is for the moment, and it certainly was for this game. Hey, only 27 points were scored in the second half by two of the best teams in the United States. Two of the better teams have been around a long time. That is a problem, but a lot of things have happened in the game, and I think it'll right itself eventually.
A shot clock?
I hope not.
All right. We've still got one final coaches poll to take a look at before the tournament finally gets underway, and we'll do that in just a moment.
This is the Porsche 930 Turbo, one of the world's fastest accelerating automobiles. And this is Yamaha's new Seika Turbo. Exactly how quick is the Yamaha Turbo? Ask the guy in the Porsche.
All over America, Ramada is changing the ho-hums into the ahas.
We're taking ho-hums out, we're putting ahas in. We're making changes for the better, cause we like the grins.
We're putting ahas into our bedrooms, our lobbies, and our restaurants. So if you've been tired of the ho-hums, come to Ramada. We're waiting for you with some very big ahas.
We're changing right before your eyes.
Every time the Connecticut State Police pull someone over, a Honeywell computer goes to work. A Honeywell computer displays police reports on the car and warns if the driver is considered dangerous.
Affirmative. That's our man.
Roger. License and registration, please. Will you follow me, please, Mr. Johnson? Your wife just had a baby girl.
Honeywell, you should see what we do with computers.
Get into the spirit with CBS Sports and NCAA basketball. Beginning Thursday, the first round of the championship tournament. Stay with CBS Sports as the action continues and all roads lead to New Orleans. Now through the final and the crowning of #1. Be a part of the excitement here at the home of the NCAA championship, CBS Sports.
CBS Sports Coaches Poll is sponsored by Atari Home Video Games.
Billy, we began the season with North Carolina ranked #1 by the coaches.
Well, it's unusual for a club to stay up there, but North Carolina did. They had 15 points in the original poll. They had 19 this time for first place, Brent.
All right, taking a look now at our top 5. And, Billy, who are the biggest gainers and losers over the course of the year?
Well, there's two of them right there. Oregon State had one first place vote. They weren't even on our poll at the beginning. And Missouri up there at #5, they started out at 17.
All right, the rest of our top 10.
Well, there's Minnesota, a club that won the very tough Big Ten race. And Georgetown, a club that everybody thinks may be the one to beat.
All right, let's see where some of those teams slipped to. Look at Kentucky now,
well,
15.
Kentucky's one of our big losers. They started out #4 in the year and down to #15.
Now, the top 20 rounded out by Louisville, which fell all the way in our poll from 3rd.
They were #3, that's right. #3 originally, all the way down there to 19.
Now, as we take a look at the tournament coming up, and of course we'll be setting the field a little bit later, North Carolina, you fully expect to be seeded #1?
Yeah, I think that we'll see North Carolina today as the #1 seed, and probably in the East.
Now, who would you pick as your long shot team right now to go all the way?
I think the team we're seeing right now on TV. How about Memphis State?
All right, and we will continue here on CBS in just a moment.
Do those old reruns keep your family apart? Does your dog fall asleep at the very start? Then turn off the TV. And here's what you can see when you play a game from Atari. Have you played Atari today?
With an Atari game, a flick of the switch turns your TV set into a playground and your family room into a family room.
Have you played Atari today?
And welcome back once again to Mid-South Arena in Memphis, Tennessee. Finals of the Metro Conference Tournament, and right now Memphis State in front 35-28, and they pretty much had it their way, Steve.
They really did. Coming into the ball game, I felt like Louisville had to get on the offensive boards to be in the game. I felt like Memphis State might have an advantage at the guard position. However, Memphis State's beat them at their own game. They've got about 13 more shot attempts, primarily off the offensive boards, and that's really been the difference.
Let's take a look at some statistics here. These for the first half of play, and you'll notice that Memphis State's getting a lot more shots and a lot of good percentage shots.
Well, that's what I said, and once again, they're not shooting a high percentage. However, there's been a lot of banging around. The officials have let a lot of fouls go underneath the basket. A short percentage of shots made, but more attempts, so that's the advantage.
And Memphis State also with a 6 rebound edge, due mainly to big Keith Lee, who had 13 points and 9 of his team's 21 rebounds.
Well, he plays every phase of the game. The personal foul situation, they take a look at the points and fouls for the Louisville Cardinals. They've got any number of people who could end up leading them in scoring. The foul situation could become critical. 3 players got 2 fouls, or 4 players got 2 fouls for Memphis State. Should Otis Jackson pick up his 3rd one early in the second half, that could be a big factor. Anytime Keith Lee's on the bench, you're going to be hurting some too.
Keith Lee, the big freshman, is the dominant factor so far as Memphis State leads 35-28. And we'll be back with second half action from the Mid-South Coliseum after these words from your local stations.
Who's the funniest character on 4 wheels with his own new comedy series? Catch Herbie the Love Bug with Dean Jones, Wednesday, March 17th.
This is CBS.
At Church's, we make chicken a juicy deal.
This is the best fried chicken I ever had. The second best fried chicken I ever had.
Lord Juicy Chicken, want to see one? Lord Juicy Chicken, want to eat one? This is the only deal I ever eat.
At Church's Fried Chicken, we make chicken a juicy deal.
I'll be right with you.
The sun fades away, and the shadows say slow down. Time to put aside the long day's ride and pass the good times around. Push. Head for the beer brewed natural as a mountain stream, for a taste as smooth as its name. Push. Head for Bush. Head for the mountains.
Join Kim McBride for the news tonight at 5:30 on Channel 3.
Today's game is sponsored by Mazda and Mazda quality products. And by U.S. Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
Steve Brody. Welcome back to Bedlam and Memphis. No love lost at all between these two teams. I think it goes back almost 10 years to the year that Danny Crum was a rookie coach in Louisville. They had a fight incident, and that kind of started the rivalry off.
And it has never cooled off since. And am I right that Dana Kirk was an assistant on the Louisville staff when that fight happened?
For 5 years, Dana Kirk, the Memphis State coach, an assistant under Danny Crum.
And now
with the ball at the start of the second half.
And now I think Crum and Kirk have as much of a personal rivalry going as the teams themselves.
Lancaster Gordon inside to Rodney McCray, out to Derek Smith. Louisville down by 7. McCray puts up the first shot of the second half, and it's a good one.
McCray is an inside scorer. He's an outside scorer. When they moved him to the offensive post position midway through the season, that seemed to be the one aspect of the game that really put things together and got the chemistry going. He's a great passer. They'll tell you that if he played the forward spot, that he'd be probably their biggest scorer.
Otis Jackson tried to pull the string on the fastball there and couldn't slow it down. So Memphis State, on its first trip down the court, turns it over. Eads. And here comes Louisville.
Like many of the Louisville players, he's a great standstill shooter. It's something that most college players don't do well. They generally put the ball on the floor before they shoot it. Louisville practices that standstill jumper. It's the one you get more often.
That's his first basket of the game. Memphis State's lead cut to 3. They were up by as much as 11 in the first half. Phillips forcing the shot. And Louisville with the rebound. Derek Smith on the drive. Has it taken out of his hands. His pocket picked by Jackson. From the free throw line. What a play.
From one end of the court to the other. To make the steal, bring it down, and finish it off with the basket. That's the complete play.
37-32, Memphis State. Eves and Lancaster Gordon, Derek Smith. Wiley Brown is in there, and Rodney McCray. That's the 5 starters here in the second half for Louisville. Gordon off to Eves. Tipped up by Brown. And the rebound to Parks. Parks, Jackson, Haynes, Lee, and Phillips. Same 5 that started the game in there for Memphis State.
And pretty much the same 5 that have been in there the entire game. Gary Taylor, the only substitute.
Lancaster Gordon on the drive after the steal.
Now notice immediately, in the first 2.5 minutes of the second half, 2 turnovers against defensive pressure by the Memphis State ball club. I would think that would be the last 5 minutes of the ball game when this constant full court pressure starts to take its toll.
3-point game right now. Memphis State leading. Bobby Parks on the drive.
Memphis State won't be intimidated. Bobby Parks can operate very well in close to the basket. Yesterday's hero. Got him here.
Derek Smith with the basket. It counts, and he's fouled. Smith with 11 points. Look at it again.
Well, jumping ability is the great equalizer in college basketball. With Derek Smith, it's not an equalizer. It's what makes him better than the best. He gets up there, able to control his body, draws the foul, enough concentration to go ahead and convert for the 3-point possibility.
With his second foul of the game. And Derek Smith gets the 3-pointer. Missed his first free throw and made his second 4.
Well, they got a foul. Full court pressure almost come up with the steal. However, Eves grabbed Jackson's wrist. They whistled it down.
2 fouls on Eves.
But once again, Memphis State will be aggressive when they beat the press. Haynes take it right to the basket. They won't be intimidated.
10 points for Haynes. Gordon answering, or trying to, for Louisville. And Lee is there to get the rebound. Hits it now to Otis Jackson.
It's Memphis State that's running and getting the advantage now.
Jackson hits. .43-37. Don't forget, we'll be picking the Honeywell player of the game. Steve and I will pick the most valuable player in today's Metro Tournament final. Boy, nobody's missed a shot here.
Well, we just got a lot of good players playing to their ability right now.
Gordon collecting 2 for Louisville, makes it a 4-point game at 43-39 with 16.5 minutes to go.
Louisville's strategy in their full court pressure is to force you to play offense. They don't care if you beat it down the floor. They would rather have you shoot the ball. They want action.
He may be skinny, but he can make that power move to the hoop. 15 points for 6'10" Keith Lee of Memphis State. Gordon, or rather Wright, who has come into the game missing from the corner. Jackson, back court.
I think he got away with the roll. Nonetheless, it'll be 2 points.
Bobby Parks from Memphis State. Racehorse basketball. That's what we expected. We're getting it. 47-39. And the last moment or 2, Memphis State has had the best of it.
I'm just afraid that this is too quick of a start in the second half for Memphis State.
Did we get a foul or a goaltending?
Well, I thought it could have been a goaltending. I wasn't sure if the ball was still on the rim. I believe they called Haynes for his 3rd personal foul.
Now Phillips is raising his hand.
Phillips, I'm sorry.
He's got 3. Jackson's got 2. Lee has got 2. Parks has got 2. And Haynes has got 2. And we get a chance to catch our breath. 15:34 left in this Metro Conference final. Memphis State leads it by 8.
This is
Well, moms and dads the world around give their kids the same old sound. Got to go to school, be a big success. They wouldn't settle for anything less. Now they've learned whatever you seek, you'll help yourself to reach your peak. In the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. Need a trade? Looking for a skill? They have hundreds to fit the bill. In the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. Want more school? Don't have the bread. They'll help pay to get you ahead. Talking Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. Mom and Dad, they'll want to shout. He's made it big. There's no doubt. Thanks, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. It's a great place to start.
Have you got that information?
Talked to you about the other memos. He needed them yesterday.
Here's the sales report. He's waiting for you.
I'll get back to you. Got a long distance.
Please, thank you, Miss Jones.
I have it.
When information is hard to find, it's not easy to get work done. That's not productive.
Georgia got the info right here.
And productivity is what IBM Office systems are all about. Today, IBM has systems that quickly tell you what you need to know, remind you of things you might forget, and even make sure you get timely messages you'll be glad you received. IBM Office Systems. With more than 40 years of experience, no one is more committed to the office, where it is now and where it will be.
But they've got to slow it down. They got the TV timeout. It's time to slow it down a little bit, get your breath back, use up a lot of adrenaline and a lot of energy talking like this and playing like they're playing.
Denny Crum with 11 straight seasons now with 20 victories. They got their 20th yesterday at the expense of Florida State. And he, of course, coached his team to the NCAA championship 2 seasons ago.
Smart idea. Memphis State in a zone defense, a chance to catch your breath a little bit. They might give up one basket, but they still got an 8-point lead.
Wagner outside to Rodney McCray. Milt Wagner, the freshman guard. To McCray, they're finding a great deal of trouble here, penetrating the Memphis State zone.
You see they've got Rodney McCray up at the point. He's a good outside shooter. He's third on the team in assists.
Eaves finally puts it up, and the rainbow jumper is good.
In addition, with McCray's size, he has a chance to look over that zone and can fire that pass in close to the basket.
47-41. Bobby Parks holds it on the outside for the Memphis State Tigers. Still a very, very young Memphis State. They've got only 4 seniors on the team. Only 1 starts, and that's Jackson. Louisville has 6 seniors on their team, and 3 of them normally start. Haynes driving the lane. It's a charge.
I think since I've been here for 3 days watching this tournament, that's what surprises me most about the Louisville ball club. They're very smart defensively. They've taken a very high number of charges in this ball game. You see foul number 3 on Haynes.
Memphis State shooting percentage absolutely phenomenal. Still 47-41. That basket did not count. Rodney McCray missing. Pancho Wright with the rebound. Louisville going after it on the boards now. Finally, Haynes winds up with it.
So often on the road, you don't get the roll and you don't get the bounce or the break. That's what happened in that situation.
Phillips rejected by Pancho Wright. Fine block. And Memphis State gets it back, and Jackson assumes command. Great floor leader.
When you play Memphis State in their own building, you've got to get yourself to the free throw line. Louisville got there more often, however, didn't get as many baskets, was down at halftime.
Lee with the tip-in. 17 points for Lee, 49-41.
He's the best freshman in the country.
Well, there's some Pat Ewing fans that might disagree.
That's what they do, because they're disagreeing with me. He's the best freshman in the country.
And he works on the other end as well, getting the rebound.
And I say it for this reason. I don't think Ewing's a great player in his own right. I don't think, because he's got better players around him. Keith Lee's done too much for this ball club.
Basket is good by Haynes, and he was fouled. And not very happy with that situation is Pancho Wright, who fouled him.
Well, there you see it.
Drive.
Even though Hayes charged last time, he still goes up. This time he jumps a little straighter and not so much into the defender. Jumps by him, drew the contact. The ability to keep concentration when you're around the basket and getting bumps.
Philip Haynes, 6'3" sophomore, has 12 points. That's right in the season average. Now 13. And an 11-point lead for Memphis State. Here's a turnover. And Lee made the steal. Well, he's done everything else. Lee at this point has 17 points, 13 rebounds, and 1 block shot, and also a steal.
This is a great time for Memphis State to run that offense till they get an easy shot. Take a little time off. A basket here is devastating.
Keith Lee. He may have taken the day off yesterday, but he's coming back with a vengeance. Denny Crum is desperately trying to signal for a timeout.
They need one. They might not get it across the floor, half court to get it.
He's trying to get somebody's attention. Gordon goes in for the shot, and goaltending is called on Memphis State.
Only his 4th goaltend of the year.
Louisville finally gets the timeout, but not before Memphis State is up to a 11-point lead, 54-43. Watch Keith Lee do it.
Well, this is the teamwork is involved in every basket. There you'll see it. Not only does Lee get himself in a position, but the ball started on the left side of the court, went to the middle, to the right side, and then inside the Lee. Teamwork, passing ability, the ability to Lee to get inside and put it down.
First time these teams played here in Memphis. Wound up in overtime, but Memphis State won it, and they're on their way again.
Germany, home of Volkswagen. What's a Mazda GLC doing here? Making a point about outstanding value in an economy car. Because while the sophisticated GLC offers the performance, economy, and versatility you expect in a front-wheel drive economy car, it offers it at a price you most certainly don't expect. The more you look at some of the finest economy cars in the world, the more you like the 1982 Mazda GLC.
We'll open your eyes. With this Color Track 2000, we can get every single cable channel available.
Ooh, basketball.
We can tune them in with remote control.
Boxing.
Only RCA-made sets give you 127 channel tuning, the most you can get.
Ooh.
So when new cable choices come along, you're ready for them.
A new channel.
It's pasta on parade.
Ooh.
We'll open your eyes, open your eyes, RCA.
Next Sunday on CBS Sports, the Phoenix Suns take on the Boston Celtics as the NBA action continues and the divisional races heat up next Sunday on CBS Sports.
Well, excitement running rampant here at the Mid-South Coliseum. Memphis State leading 54-43. Dana Kirk, the head coach of the Memphis State Tigers in only his 3rd year, probably the biggest thing to happen to Memphis since Elvis Presley.
Well, and you know what? He is a very aggressive head coach. When he took the job, he didn't think twice about coming and saying, I'm going to win 2 national championships while I'm at Memphis State. Not just one, or he didn't stop at the conference championship. He went right for the nationals.
Here we go. 12 and a half minutes remaining. Memphis State up by 11. There's the rebound statistic, and Memphis State has moved out to a giant edge, thanks mainly to the work of Lee, who has 13 of those boards.
Well, you see Louisville, they're going to be out all over the floor now, really pressuring up defensively. They've got to force offensive shot attempts by Memphis State.
Louisville made one change during that timeout. Charles Jones, who blocked that shot, came in. Last touch by Louisville's Poncho Wright. So it goes out of bounds to Memphis State.
When you get your shot blocked, it's not the end of the world. You see that one got blocked. Phillips goes right in after it. Almost got it and put it back in. However, they do retain possession.
Park sets up the out-of-bounds play for Philip Haynes. Didn't play that one off the glass. which is unusual. But they save it again. Parks kicks it outside to Jackson.
That seems to be where Parks really does the job on the boards. He hangs out there at the wing position. He's the one that generally comes up with that long rebound in the middle of the lane. Tremendous timing and leaping ability.
Parks making his move. Lee with the rebound. Phillips with the next tip in. And they are really going after it. Derek Smith and Phillips really hustling under the boards.
Well, I'll tell you what, Derek Phillips took a little shot right in the face from Derek Smith.
And turned the other cheek, looked like.
He did. Well, it's real smart on his part. You're going to see all the action inside. Now, believe me, when you've got 5, 6 guys, 6'8", 6'9", strong, going up and making contact like that, tempers are going to flare. Phillips did a great job of not letting his temper get away from him. However, they are going to let him sit on the bench just for a second.
Gary Taylor comes into the game for Memphis State. Haynes takes the inbounds pass to Jackson. 11-point lead for the Memphis State Tigers.
Louisville,
an NCAA berth.
Louisville's in the zone. Now they're going to go back to man-to-man. I think I would have just passed the ball around the zone and once again taken a chance to get a little rest for my players who don't get a chance to come out of the ball game.
Now how's that for a move for a 6'10 guy? 21 points for Keith Lee, 13 rebounds. Derek Smith trying to drive the baseline. Lee gets possession on him, so he has to send it back outside. Cross court. Pancho Wright off the glass.
Well, Pancho's going to see a lot of playing time in the remainder of the ball game. Down 11 points. They need that perimeter jump shot.
Jackson guarded closely by Wright and also by Gordon. And manages to get it across the center line with no problem at all.
Well, you see the maturity of, which is unusual for such a young ball club. Right into the offense now. Otis Jackson running the show.
Haynes inside to the big man. Yes! Little high five action there from the Memphis State Tigers.
They've got it going their way right now, but don't celebrate too soon, Memphis State. Louisville's a second-half ball club.
Pancho Wright picks up the personal foul.
There you see it. The good pass inside. Lee establishing position. The foul was down on the legs. Knocked him off balance. He heard the whistle. Continued with the shot. Converts the three-pointer.
Lee is from West Memphis, Arkansas, just across the river from Memphis. Thought about going to Arkansas State, but then did a last-minute switch and wound up at Memphis State, and are they happy? They called him the franchise, and I think you've had an opportunity to see why.
Well, I think the question now almost has to be how long will he stay in school?
Taylor with the rebound on McRae's missed shot. Jackson on the drive. Tried to dish it off to Lee. Was knocked out of bounds by Gordon. Lee is 5 for 5 from the field in the second half.
I would almost look for Jerry Eves to get back in the ball game for the Louisville Cardinals. I don't know if in this type of ball game down 14 points you're going to win with the freshman and sophomore at the guard position.
Well, you saw Charles Jones, number 33, check into the game. Eves is getting ready to come back in. Jones last week was our CBS Honeywell Player of the Week in Louisville's impressive victory over Marquette. Cardinals, keep in mind, have won 8 in a row. They've generated a lot of momentum. Last year, they won 15 in a row going into the playoffs, then lost to Arkansas on U.S. Reed shot.
Taylor's had himself a big ball game off the bench.
Memphis State can't miss. 61 to 45, 16-point lead. Gordon rejected by Lee.
I think he could have whistled him down for the body on that. We didn't have the greatest angle.
Lee's excited. You saw him going down the court flashing the number 1 sign. So he's feeling pretty good, and he wants the ball.
He really wants it.
Look at him. He's got it. He walked before the shot.
Well, basket. He may have walked. I wasn't watching his feet. I know he got fouled before he turned to the basket. But, you know, it's the best player on any given ball club has got a lot of responsibility because generally your ball club is going to play as hard as you play. When you've got a kid that as good as Lee plays as inspirationally as he does with as much as intensity that rubs off everywhere. Derek Smith walked right there.
Fine shot by Rodney McCray with good hang time. Gives him 12 points. Makes it a 61-47
Wait
game.
for Lee. Wait for Lee. Here he comes.
I think they'll wait for him. They're in no hurry. They know where their bread and butter is. Charles Jones is trying to stay with Lee right now, playing behind him. Jackson slowing it down.
And if you watch Lee away from the ball, he's the type of kid that's willing to do everything. He's going to set the pick. He's going to get wherever he's got to in the offense for his team to operate.
Just over 8 minutes left to play as they try to get it inside.
Memphis State going to call a timeout.
Timeout, Memphis State with 8:10 remaining. And the Tigers in command here at the Mid-South Coliseum. They are after their first Metro Conference tournament title ever.
Here comes Harry Gant and the Skull Bandit in for a pit stop.
Hi, I'm Harry Gant. When I bring the Skull Bandit in for a pit stop, I come in for a paint stop. Because while the rest of the team takes care of the Bandit, I get to take a little pinch of Skull, put it between my cheek and gum for real tobacco pleasure without lighting up. Now that's what we call teamwork. And Skull's what we call team pleasure. For real tobacco pleasure without lighting up, try Skull. A pinch is all it takes.
I'm Julius Irving. People call me Dr. J because of how I operate. For 20 years, I've been making my rounds in these, Converse. Light on the fast break, strong when you go to set a pick, and in rebounding, no shoe protects you better than Converse. So when people ask me for my advice on how to improve their game, I always say,
take 2 of these and call me in the morning.
In every sport, on every field, on every court, reach for the stars! Converse!
Floyd here claims to have had a close encounter.
Claim? I saw.
So we wanted to get his reaction to Intellivision Space Battle.
That's it. That's it. It happened just like that. There was a ship that took me in. Oh, and those explosions. I'll never forget it, Mr. Plinkin.
Thank you, Floyd. In Television Space Battle, you may never come closer to a close encounter.
Ain't you listening? It flew like...
A little preview of coming attractions. Right after our game, we'll have a live report on the selection of the 48-team field comprising this year's NCAA tournament. Gary Bender will be at NCAA headquarters in Kansas City with the first-round pairings. Billy Packer and Brent Musburger in New York with reactions of coaches and players from around the nation, all part of CBS Sports' extensive coverage of this year's NCAA tournament. More tournament coverage than ever before, beginning with first-round games Thursday and Friday night, a triple-header on Saturday, and a double-header on Sunday. All on most of these CBS stations. Memphis State with the ball and the lead. In command, 61-47. Parks on the drive has it knocked out of his hands and is fouled by Eves.
A very strategic timeout. So often when a team explodes, the momentum gets going. Once again, you use up some energy, some adrenaline, and the other team comes back. Dana Kirk calls timeout, goes to a set play, opens up the lane. Parks drives it to the basket. A chance to put a couple more points on the board, although he missed the first one.
8 points so far for Bobby Parks, the 6'5 sophomore. I missed them both. Charles Jones gathers the rebound. As we said before, chances are that both of these teams will wind up in the NCAA tournament. So what are they playing for?
Strictly pride, strictly pride.
Well, you also may get a home court advantage, so to speak. The team that wins probably will be seated in a region closer to its home, which in a sense might give you a home court advantage because more of your fans can come.
Certainly that's part of it, but in addition, though, in this ballgame, even when Louisville had the great teams and they were losing very seldom, Memphis State was always the team that could beat them pretty consistently at home.
Derek Smith with the last basket gives him 14 points. And another foul on the Cardinals. This one on Smith, his third.
Looking ahead a little bit going into the tournament, Memphis State, really what has to be considered a Cinderella year, picked to finish fourth by most people in the conference. You know, the Cinderella teams generally get to that point during the tournament where they feel like they've accomplished enough. They become a little content. I guess that's what worries me most about their performance in the NCAAs. Will they get to that point in time where they don't feel like where the fire's died down a little bit?
16 fouls on Louisville, so the next time they foul, Memphis State will benefit from the bonus the remainder of the game. As Memphis State plays a little keep away now with just under 7 minutes. Lob pass intended for Keith Lee. He touched it last, and it belongs to the Cardinals.
Well, so many teams think you have to go to 4 corners to run out the clock. If you're good enough, if you're a good enough ball handling team, it's easier to run out the clock just running your offense and not shooting the ball. There's more of a chance that you'll turn it over when you go into the 4-corner offense.
Eves taking it down, missing the shot, tipped up once, no good. Next one, Parks has it knocked out of his hands, and the foul is on Jones of Louisville.
Louisville's had a number of occasions in this ballgame where they've had 2 and 3 offensive rebounders together. The ball's been knocked around, and Memphis State in general has come up with that loose one.
The last statistic we had was Memphis State out rebounding Louisville 32-19. That is some edge.
Certainly not what you would have expected coming into this game.
Bobby Parks at the free throw line. Missed his last 2. Gives him 3 out of 5 from the line and 9 points on the afternoon. 6.5 minutes remaining. 62-49, Memphis State.
Well, Parks has shot the second most free throws of anybody on the team and is shooting 80% on the year.
Gordon almost lost it. Out to Rodney McCray. Gordon with the right-handed jumper.
You know, Gordon played forward in high school. He's just now beginning to learn how to play the game at the guard position, developing his ball handling skills, recognizing when he's got a shot, and in addition, learning to what his own range is and where he can be a good shooter on the floor.
6 minutes left to play in the game. Lee underneath. And a whistle.
I think this foul may have occurred before the shot. We'll have to wait and see.
Foul is on Smith, and that's 4 on him.
Now you got to remember, Smith a great leaper, but still only 6'7". Lee at 6'10's got a big advantage. You saw him get position. Rather than wait and foul in the act of shooting, he pushed him prior to the shot attempt.
Lee missing on the free throw attempt, and Parks saving it. Back out to Lee, and they started again. Lee just wants that ball.
Boy, he really went over the back that time. They caught him.
Third foul on Keith Lee, the franchise for Memphis State. That's a little anxious at times. Even Danny Crum has called him the best freshman in the country. He's the number 2 scorer in the conference, averaging better than 18 points per game. Memphis State continuing to apply pressure as Louisville brings it down. 62-51. Smith short with the jumper. Phillips with the rebound.
I'll tell you what, Memphis State has not made many mistakes in this ball game. I can't remember one right offhand.
Well, they're not allowing Louisville to get more than 1 shot.
Well, that's the key against the Cardinals. Keep them off the offensive boards, you got yourself a pretty decent chance of winning. In the past, I think they've been characterized as a team that's not a good perimeter shooting ball club. I certainly would agree with that estimation. The Louisville assistants would tell you that's not the case, but I think if you force them to shoot from the perimeter, you're going to beat them.
Memphis State playing a little keep away here now. Jackson off to Bobby Parks, had a notion to drive for the hoop and changed his mind. 4 minutes, 50 seconds. 62-51. Memphis State, 11-point lead. Denny Crum shouting instructions to his team. Here's Parks on the drive. Had it rejected down to Lancaster Gordon. And Gordon is fouled by number 32, Philip Haynes.
Don't celebrate too soon, Memphis State. 4.5 minutes to play.
Like Parks just couldn't resist it there, could he?
I'm surprised that he didn't go for the jam right here. I thought that Gordon may have traveled as soon as he caught the ball. Haynes did a good job. If you're going to foul somebody in the act of shooting, foul them strong enough that they don't even get the ball up there and a chance for the 3-point play.
11 points for Gordon. His first free throw attempt of the afternoon. 62-53. Louisville coming back. Steele on the inbounds pass. They can pick it up. Rodney McCray has it. Off to Eves. Turnaround jumper. No good. Smith with the rebound. He scores, and he is fouled by Lee, and that is 4 on Lee.
They can turn it around in a hurry on you. 4.5 to play. 62-57 with that basket. 58 if he sinks the free throw. Derek Smith, when he gets the ball in this position, he's just so good. He's very creative inside. Tremendous strength and leaping ability.
Now you're going to see if the experience of Louisville pays off against the relative inexperience of Memphis State, the much younger team. Timeout. 6-point deficit here. Memphis State 62, Louisville 56. Coverage of NCAA basketball will continue after this word from your local station.
This is CBS.
Back when they built superhighways to the city, they planned for everything, except for this. Fortunately, there's a tough oil made for today's tough traffic. Gulf Pride with ZDP, one of the toughest anti-wear ingredients. So change to Gulf Pride. Then if traffic's hard to take, at least your engine can take it. Gulf Pride, that tough oil. Make sure that Gulf is with you.
Why don't you spice up your life at Poncho's?
Spice up your life, spice up your life, spice up your life at Poncho's.
I just love Poncho's.
Fouled out yesterday against Virginia Tech with 1:19 left. He's got 4 right now, in addition to 24 points, 15 rebounds, 3 block shots, and 2 steals. Very good stats. In the last 5 minutes, Louisville has outscored Memphis State 11-1.
Well, they're coming back right now. Memphis State might do themselves right to go into a zone. The other reason I do not like the 4-corner offense, it takes Lee and Phillips completely out of the game. One of the strengths in this ballgame has been their offensive rebounding, Lee's offense inside. That's completely gone when they spread it out and go 4 corners.
That's a tremendous statistic there on Denny Crum, his 1-loss record. He was the first coach in major college basketball history to hit 200 at the earliest time ever before any other coach, and the first to pass the 250 mark at the earliest time juncture. Phillips will inbound for Memphis State. They lead by 6. Can they hold it? Jackson, double team, gets around Eves. And gets it across the center line. He is bullet quick.
He really is. He can take the ball on the dribble and beat any guard on Louisville's team. He made a mistake here picking this ball up. You've got to maintain your dribble until you've got someone to pass it to. You can't pick up the ball and then look for a pass.
Lancaster Gordon fouling Lee. Gordon can't believe it. And Denny Crum not too pleased with it either. Memphis State has out-rebounded Louisville now 35-23. There's Dana Kirk, one-time assistant under Crum at Louisville, who has really got him thinking basketball in Memphis. These fans are rabid. Lee on the line, 2 out of 3 so far. He's got 24 points. Misses the front end of the 1-and-1, and here come the Cardinals.
And you can see the bounces are starting to go Louisville's way right now.
62-56. Eves trying to penetrate. Derek Smith. Jones fighting for the rebound, but Phillips comes up with it. Triple teamed. He finally gets it out of there to Haynes. Big play by Memphis State. Fans thought a foul should have been called underneath. 3 minutes, 25 seconds left to play in the game. 62-56. Memphis State with the lead. Lob pass to Lee.
Now they go right back to their offensive pattern. They get themselves a basket. It's easier to handle the ball when you're in your offense rather than the 4 corner.
That's a big bucket. 8 points looks twice as big as 6. 3 minutes and 5 seconds.
Well, that last miss by Smith was a big one. That's got to be 2. No.
McRae loses it. Jackson tearing down court.
Smart play, smart play.
Slows it down. His team is up by 8. Inside to the big man, and this time Jones fouls him. Tough man to stop.
I think that's about the only guy I'd want to shoot the ball right now. If I can't get it inside the lead for that little layup or that little jump hook, I'm just going to work the ball around outside and run the clock out.
4 fouls on Charles Jones, 6'8" sophomore, and Keith Lee goes to the line. 2 out of 4 from the free throw line. He missed just a moment ago. 77% free throw shooter on the year. And that builds the lead back to 9 with 2 minutes and 39 seconds remaining. I believe we're looking at our player of the game. What do you think?
I don't think there's any question about it. But I would give you credit for picking him. How's that?
Well, we picked him last time we were here.
We did.
Saw him beat Florida State very impressively. Gordon. Louisville can't get it to go down all of a sudden.
They've had a tremendous amount of trouble grabbing that rebound. That's got to be the 6th, 7th time they've either knocked it out of bounds, lost it, and had Memphis State come up with it.
Bobby Parks will slow it down. 2 minutes, 15 seconds. 65-56. Smith. And that should be 5 on Derek Smith, who outside of the NCAA tournament winds up a great career at Louisville. What a basketball player this young man has been. From Hogansville, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta. 17 points on the afternoon. He winds up as the #2 all-time leading scorer. He's the Louisville Cardinals behind Darrell Griffith.
And really kind of a dark horse scholarship player for the Cardinals. I think they beat out Gardner Webb was the only other school that they had to compete against to sign him to a scholarship.
Bobby Parks on the free throw line, getting 1. Makes it an 11-point Memphis State lead. 67-56, 2 minutes and 9 seconds remaining in the game.
And you know, with this performance, Lee could very possibly be the MVP of the tournament. The only other time a freshman won it was Dale Solomon 3 years ago when Virginia Tech was a surprise winner in the Metro Conference tournament.
Lancaster Gordon with 14 points after sinking that basket. Philip Haynes in no hurry at all. The man they call Doom on the flat. Haynes is out of game. That gives him 15.
Well, I'll tell you what,
fans yelling Doom.
There's a lot of contact there. I don't know who committed the foul, but something had to be called.
Tipped in by Rodney McRae, last year's MVP in the Metro tournament.
If the clock should stop, I would think Louisville might want to get in a smaller lineup so they can play a little bit better pressure defense.
69-60. There's a point lead and a traveling call against Memphis State.
They've got Poncho Wright guarding Doom Haynes right now. That's just not a good matchup.
Denny Crum wants a time. Now they see him. And Louisville calls timeout.
So you see what I mean? This is nothing but a total mismatch. Now, I'll tell you what, that looks like a block to me and should have been a 3-point play.
Timeout with a minute and 12 seconds left, and Memphis State to its first ever Metro Conference Tournament Championship.
Hey, we don't need...
Control 6 to base. Looks like this big old hole in the ground is going to be safe for the night. Over.
They come out all beat. It's Miller time. Miller time. Time to appreciate the difference between a good beer
when it's time to relax
and a great beer.
One beer stands clear.
Miller High Life.
You got the time. We got the beer. Miller beer. Come Miller time. We got the beer.
I'd like to keep that great GM feeling, Mr. Goodwrench, but how am I supposed to know when to do what?
Just watch your 75s.
75s?
Here, to help you keep that great GM feeling, your GM maintenance schedule calls for a checkup every 7,500 miles.
Looks complicated, Mr. Goodwrench.
It isn't. All you have to do is watch the top of the charts and your odometer. We take care of the rest.
Keep that great GM feeling.
Mr. Goodwrench makes it easy.
With genuine GM parts.
This is a new Yamaha Maxim. Possibly the best-looking motorcycle we've ever built. And if you think it looks good at a red light, wait till the light turns green.
Well, there he is, today's Honeywell Player of the Game, Keith Lee of Memphis State. And those reasons, you can see them on your screen. 27 points, 15 rebounds, a couple of blocks. And as part of NCAA basketball on CBS, Honeywell will present a check for $1,000 to each university's scholarship fund. You know, he had a great day the first time these two teams met here at the Mid-South Coliseum.
He got 30 in that first ball game that they won in overtime. A game that Louisville could have won at the free throw line. Rodney McRae made one, missed one to put the game in overtime, and Memphis State won it.
Just over a minute left to play in the game as Eves jacks it up. And Jackson gets the rebound. Don't forget, right after the game, the NCAA selections. You'll get the pairings, 48 teams, to enter the tournament, which starts on Thursday, right here on CBS.
And I'm real surprised they got Rodney McRae trying to guard Otis Jackson.
Jackson doing his Marcus Haynes number, and the fans love it. 40 seconds to go. 9-point lead for Memphis State, and a whistle and a foul. Rodney McRae picks up the foul. Right after the game, we'll have a live report on the selection of the 48-team field. Gary Bender is at NCAA headquarters in Kansas City with the first-round pairings, and Billy Packer and Brett Musburger in New York will be switching around the country to get reactions of coaches and players. All part of CBS Sports' extensive coverage of this year's tournament, which gets underway Thursday. Philippines puts the last nail in the coffin. Maybe it was a couple of minutes ago, I don't know, but that's for sure. 10 points with 38 seconds left to play.
So a satisfying year for the Tigers of Memphis State. Disappointed that Dana Kirk was not named Coach of the Year in this conference. However, they'll take that NCAA bid in league championship and tournament championship.
Kicking violation against Memphis State, so Louisville will throw it in. Memphis State will wind up 23-4 on the year. And Louisville will have lost its 9th game, but as memory serves me correctly, Indiana lost 9 last year. They didn't do too badly. Pancho Wright.
And of course, we'll be interested to see if the defending champion gets that NCAA bid.
Louisville has gone into the deep freeze here the last 3 or 4 minutes. They just can't get anything to fall after they made that one run. Jones, technical foul for hanging on the rim. Well, nothing's going right for the Cardinals now.
I'll tell you what, I certainly want to be a member of the broadcast team when these two teams get together next year. There you see, time for a little playground. Lost possession of the ball and grabbed onto the rim. We got a bunch of subs coming in. Everybody taking their bows now.
A disappointed Dennis Crum, and Dana Kirk is now clearing his bench. Here comes Lee out of the lineup. And the rest of the starting 5. And a tremendous standing ovation from these Memphis State fans as they beat Louisville for the second time in 3 outings this year, win their first Metro Conference tournament ever, the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. And it's just a question now of where they'll play this weekend.
Stay tuned because we'll have that information coming right up.
On the line is Greg Moore. He took the technical foul shot after Jones was caught hanging on the rim. So this is an all-reserve team now for Memphis State for the last 20 seconds of the game. Inbounds pass to Aaron Price. Jump shot, no good. 15-footer from Bubba Luckett. Pancho Wright takes it all the way down court. McRae with the rebound. And he's fouled. 5 seconds left. 71-60. I don't think the soul in this Coliseum is sitting down right now. And you're going to see some kind of explosion, I imagine, when the clock ticks away. They've got security around the court, but you're going to see the players and coaches mob. Rodney McRae on the line. Big victory over their arch rivals, the Louisville Cardinals. And they did it from the outset. They're confident that they're going to be in New Orleans. You hear them chanting, "We're number one."
Well, they'll get a chance to prove it.
71-62. 2 seconds to go. The jump shot goes down as the gun goes off by John Albright. And that makes the final score 73-62. And the Memphis State Tigers are the Metro Conference champions. They won the regular season crown, and now they come to the tournament on their home court and win it here in Roning, Louisville, the defending champions. Louisville won the championship of the tournament the last 2 seasons when it was held in Freedom Hall, and this man's certainly a very big part of it.
Well, I'm not old enough to know any other freshman in the country that has ever come in and made impact as deeply as made on this program. He single-handedly turned this ball club around. He certainly had the supporting cast has been tremendous, but without Keith Lee, I don't know if they'd be here today.
The question is now, what can he do for an encore?
Well, we touched on that issue a little bit earlier. Once again, that Cinderella team, when do they get to the point in the season where they think they've accomplished enough?
Our executive producer of NCAA basketball, Kevin O'Malley, our producer in Memphis today, David Dinkins, and our director, Larry Cavallina. Thank you for your outstanding work, men, along with our associate producer, Mitch Goldstein, and our field technical manager, Harold Schiffman. Some of the other folks from CBS top technical crew on hand here in Memphis today to bring you the proceedings of the Metro Conference Finals. Quite a ball game as Memphis State wins it to the adoration of this capacity crowd of 11,500. They cut the nets down, and the presentation ceremony will follow, at which they'll receive the championship trophy. And quite a story for Dana Kirk, the young coach in his 4th year. Our other CBS game is still in progress. That's the one in South Carolina at Columbia, matching the Gamecocks and the University